government, the post-colonial government of Dong Hsinghua. Right? Why would the government want to kill the urban councils? The government's claim was the government has no execution power to push through cultural policies. And on October 1997, the Secretary for Broadcasting, Culture and Sport is a role already eliminated, Zhao Daihe, said to the Provisional Legislative Council that his post is a soldier-less commander. That's very strange because his department has over 1,000 civil servants. And he said he is a soldier-less commander, and his office has no power to push through cultural policy. And the real power over culture is in the hands of the urban council and the regional council. And he's saying that this publicly elected cultural policy institution prevents the government from exercising cultural policy because the power and the money is in the urban councils, and we as the Secretary for Broadcasting, Culture and Sport can do nothing. This is his claim, although he has 1,000 people under him. And this was a justification for one of the justifications for eliminating the publicly elected bodies. And the argument was first create a small civil society and big government, and then you can have a small government and big market. That was the logic behind it. You have to take back the resource and the power from civil society to the government before the government can privatize it to the market. So this is what was going on, and a kind of big policy change. The second claim was that there is overlapping bureaucracy and resource wastage. So you need to kill the urban council. But the question at the time that we were asking, as I was still a student, was why don't you kill the government department? Why you kill the publicly elected one? Right? You can kill, if there is overlap, you could kill the government department instead. Yes. Or ask some of these civil servants to move to the urban council and serve it over there. This is what the government usually does, right? Like the airport, right? Instead of using the government to manage the airport, you start the airport authority to do it. Why can't you do that with culture? Right? Why do you kill the publicly elected body and not the government department? If your claim is small government, big market, very, very strange. And the official's answer was he believes that a thorough revision of the three-tier representative government that redefines the role of the two councils would help to push for a better allocation of resources for art and culture. So you kill a more democratic system, right? Then you will have better cultural policy. The government's claim also claimed that it's a response to public demand for cultural policy that they want to kill this elected body. And in 1998, the Secretary for Broadcasting said to the Provisional Legislative Council that to develop a proper cultural policy, the government needs to have proper office to do it. Before a proper reform of the administrative structure, it is impossible for the government to single-handedly develop and carry through cultural policy. And the analysts say that Chow is implying that only the executive branch of the government can centralize cultural policy systematically. So at that time, the Provisional Legislative Council did not include the Pan-Democrats. The Pan-Democrats refused to join because it's a regressive system that is less democratic than the one they had before. So this Provisional Legislative was like a rubber stamp that allows all government ideas to pass. So it reinforced the demand justifying government urgency for executive structural reform. And in March 1998, the Provisional Legislative passed a motion to develop a cultural policy in the principle of unity and diversity, whatever that is. This is the first time that the idea of cultural policy has ever been debated in the Hong Kong Legislative Council. So that's why a lot of people say Hong Kong doesn't have a cultural policy. And it was only in Dong Hsinghua government that people decided to have cultural policy, which I will prove to be untrue. And there was, of course, a lot of public criticisms, but the government also tried to hijack that Council was killed. The Department of Broadcasting, Culture and Sport was dissolved and put into the Home Affairs Bureau. Cultural matters are now home affairs. Broadcasting is put under technology, telecommunications, and broadcasting, which sounds a more different kind of division of labor. So from then on, there is no government department named under culture. Culture is home affairs. Okay. Culture has become a miscellaneous item under the Home Affairs Bureau, and it is jumped from a department to one of the tasks of the Home Affairs Bureau. It's no longer represented by a major office. And the government then proceeds to look as if it is seriously doing consultation about the structural reform to set up cultural policy. And the Central Planning Unit invited some people from elsewhere, like from Germany's Cultural Affairs Department, to give papers and generate a sense that the government is really thinking about it, and involved a lot of scholars and that. And after this pretense to consultation, it proceeded to justify the elimination of the two elected Urban Council and Regional Council on Cultural Affairs. And in June '98, the Constitutional Affairs Bureau issued a consultative paper to review the two councils. And people begin to realize that the government is seriously proceeding to eliminate the two elected bodies with real cultural policy-making power and real monetary resources to execute its decisions, and then centralizes control over cultural matters within the executive branches of the government. From the democratic civil society control to government executive control. This is a shift in where cultural policy power lies. Now, after culture becomes an administrative and management issue, then the government can do something else. Now, and still in '98, the Lecture plays along and debated the first time on the need for long-term cultural policy. And the Chief Executive's policy address also expresses desire to turn Hong Kong into a cultural metropolis befitting the claims of Asia's world city alongside London and New York. Very ambitious and arrogant. And the next year, there was an advisory report on culture, leisure, and sports services issued, and the setting up of a consultative body called the Culture and Heritage Commission. One of your readings is the report on cultural policy suggestions by this Culture and Heritage Commission. It was created in 1999, killed 2003. After they created the report, the government has finished pretending that it cares about cultural policy, and that report was just put on the shelf. That's it. A lot of public criticism was absorbed administratively by inviting all these critics into the Cultural Heritage Commission, let them debate and write and talk about cultural policy, let them write a report and put it on the shelf. That's what's happening. And we want to really, it's very easy to read their report, especially look at sections 3 onwards. Section 1 and 2 is not a flaw. Section 3 onwards would be, we will begin to see policy suggestions and their analysis of the present situation, which is very, very good information if you know very little about this area. And you have that in your readings.